Hi, my name is Annamieka Hops, and this is the Art Friends Show, where every conversation focuses on getting to know the essence of creativity itself. I'd love to invite you as well to join me inside of Art Friends School, where we go deeper into these topics and join in with other art friends around the world. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's get to the show. Welcome to the Art Friends Show. Here's an artist you're gonna love to know. Hi, my name's Annamieka, and it's day 56 in a row going live to create the Art Friends Show. Today we're interviewing Christina Rosalie, and she's gonna pop in right now. There you are! Hi!
It's great to be here.
Welcome to the Art Friends Show. Can you tell everyone your full name and where you live, and then show us some of your art?
I am Christina Rosalie. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I have some of my art. I'm in my studio today, so that's a piece behind me that I finished pretty recently, and then I have sort of another one that you can maybe get a glimpse of up close, some of the materiality of it. It's also fairly large.
Oh, wow. I'm loving these. They're so, well, as you can tell, I like a lot of color. They're so well developed and just rich with imagery. Really cool. So can you tell us about developing this body of work and just a little bit of your backstory of how you got to this place with your art?
Yeah, it's been an adventure. So I've always been into art. I've always painted and drawn. But it was really after I got a divorce and I had space, like basement space was my first studio, not here, but my first studio, where it was like I could go larger than a piece of paper or a small canvas, you know, and that like stretch into something bigger, like forced me to just really rethink my marks and how my gestures were, and just like there's so much room, you know, metaphoric and true, to the experience. And so then I've done a series of other works, and then about, I would say maybe almost 2 years ago now, I started this this body of work, and really exploring sort of relationality, and it's like this intuitive conversation with you know, the whole cosmic expanse.
That's cool.
This call and response, and it's taken, like you were saying, that, you know, they're so developed, and that was a shift for me to like have patience to really like work on a piece for a while, really establish like what are the marks, you know, what needs to come through, and just build that up, which was a shift for me, and I still feel like I'm learning.
Oh, aren't always, right? Yeah,
for sure.
So cool. So this through line in your life of making art and then having this big life change and being able to work larger, have a basement. Now you have this, like, I'm looking at your space, like, totally, it's happy for you at this, you know, in that like, what's that called? It's like joy envy or something. So you got space to expand, which is great. And you've developed this call and response painting technique. It really sounds like in concert with intuition itself.
So much so. It's definitely like just following that intuitive thread, and sort of the gestural too, like embodiment in a certain way of just like, what does the mark express, and then it's like, oh, what's the feeling state? And it's so fascinating to sort of follow that, and then see how each piece is having a conversation with the other pieces in this series. They're definitely related, but there's an evolution to the marks as well, and further expression and refinement of those marks as I've been working on this series.
Very cool. So with this series, how many pieces are you talking about?
Right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, cool. So we were talking a bit as we were prepping about this kind of, it feels like to me like you're on, we could come up with a metaphor, but you're like on the precipice of like where these debut or you know, what's next. And can you speak a bit to that? Like, where would you like them to be shown, or what kind of collaboration would you like to help represent you?
Yeah, I mean, that's been on my mind, and it's actually, again, part of my own evolution as an artist is like allowing myself to
Mm-hmm.
that representation. Like, I've always, for a long time, I would treat art as like the thing I would do like out of public view, you know, because then there would be less pressure, to sort of, you know, the pressure of you know, how people see it and understand it, and, you know, all of that. But gradually, as I've really lived much more into my own authenticity, it feels really appropriate to start, you know, finding a place where I could share that work with a broader audience. And so the goals there is really to just it's I would love to find a you know, a gallery, whether online or in person, that's sort of values aligned, you know, that is also really, that the whole body of work is exploring sort of these gestural relationships just in the gallery space itself, like who's curating it, that they're thinking about some of the things that I'm thinking about. And
Yeah.
I guess the last thing is just something that often strikes me is, you know, I've gone to Art Basel and Zona Mako and a couple of different really big shows, and there's like really incredible stuff, and there's also so much decorative stuff that it's like, like, where to, you know, how do you play, and like the balance of like selling art versus expressing. So that's kind of, love to hear your thoughts on that part.
Oh, totally. Um, so first of all, how cool that you've gone to some of those huge like global art fairs and seen that kind of like, I feel like they're kind of a snapshot of what's currently being supported in that like part of the art world. And I'm so not in that part of the art world. There's this kind of trajectory of like certain types of galleries, and then, you know, national art fairs and global art fairs and that whole thing. There's a part of the art world that's supported by institutions and representation. And then the part of the art that I really live in, most of my friends and peers work in, is the self-represented art brand, where you kind of walk the line between fine art and commercial art. And I see artists making a living doing a number of things, from, you know, selling original work to licensing it on all sorts of things that get made out of it, and doing, you know, creating work for clients, all that stuff. But the point is, witnessing this and just like being such a nerd about it for my whole life, I have this module in my mentoring program where I talk about the 3 types of value exchange that everything to me kind of boils down to in an art practice. This is definitely one of my kind of core beliefs, or like worldviews on art. So I see one very core value exchange with our art is self-expression, right? Making our art can assist us to feel more alive, more fully authentically ourselves, fully self-expressed. And that is incredibly valuable. That is one of the things that I think leads most of us to create. Not all of us, but most of us. And that's definitely my zone of genius, is like loving people through the process of self-expression to deepen into their own voice and make a body of work from there. It sounds like that's really where you've been. Yeah.
Deeply where I've been working from.
Yeah. So I think of that as one, but there are 2 more that I see, and the alchemy of 1, 2, or all 3 over our careers, I think is important to look at. So the second type of value exchange that I feel like a lot of things boil down to is the art's ability to connect with others. And I think that as either in addition to or separate from our own sense of feeling self-expressed in the art. So that's like, you know, maybe I make a piece of artwork and I don't really like it, but it goes out in the world and it connects with others. They have their own meaning from it, and it does its work in the world. Or this could be like the Art Friend show.
Right, totally.
Me, 2 buttons right now. I feel very self-expressed, seen, and heard. But it's also building community. It's touching and moving and including. So that's like the purpose of a lot of creative expression, right? Is to connect with others. And then the third type of value exchange is income, is money, is like monetary value of the thing. And so some artists operate in our, we're able to do all three. Like if I could make money doing this show, I would be in heaven, right? Because it's a trifecta. If if what you're saying is like you're very, very at home in the self-expression part, here you are debuting in the community part. I'm sure you're good at community because we're just meeting. But then like if you make money from it, sweet. Or maybe not. Maybe some people don't want to do the same artwork in all three categories. It's not like some gold standard. Some of us have part of our practice for personal, part of it for community building, and part of it for money. So I'm gonna be quiet now and let you speak. But that was one thing when you were doing your intake about this kind of place you're at where you have really strong work and you're thinking about the business aspect. I just wanted to kind of share that. But please share.
No, yeah. I mean, it's really cool to hear you sort of break those down, because for sure, the expression piece has always been just very what I paint from as an intuitive gestural painter, right? It's very personal.
Yeah.
And increasingly, really since my partner and I got this house, like the vision has been like, I want to, like this open studio that I'll be doing this weekend, like bring people together and like connect with people and have my art be something that sparks that inner conversation, that sparks those moments of wonder or question or transformation, those feelings that that's what I aspire to do more than really anything else, like to have it move from the personal into like, can it be a vehicle of one,
Mm-hmm.
and then how to make that into a business. That's always been the line that I don't really know how to sort of balance the authenticity of that sparking wonder and making something repeatable or recognized, like having to have a style has always been sort of a challenge for me, because it's like I'm following the expression. So it's, how to make something commercial or, accessible broadly has been where I've just sort of like not even really explored it until this year, like even considered exploring it. So it's the jump from the community to the monetary, and just sort of what are the paths and the venues there for doing.
Yeah. Well, and you say what are the paths and the venues, and that was the other piece that I wanted to explore, because for anyone listening, we just met. We're getting to know each other. This is truly the spirit of the Art Friend Show. It's like, let's get to know our creativity and each other and make friends with it. So when you were saying what are the paths and venues, it made me think, because you mentioned, oh, sorry, there's the mail delivery. Let me grab my dog. Hey, you. Can you be quiet for me? Thank you. Okay. So when you gallery representation, that is one option, right?
Right.
And there are so many options. There's so many options. And I think when thinking about it, it sounds like you're super dialed into how it is self-expression for you. And you've got this like open studio coming up and you can't wait for your work. Like if I think of work as like alive and having a personality, like that's when it goes and like meets its people, and it's like beyond.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And so for the money thing, I mean, everything boils, I'm going to just say like everything boils down to being a product or a service, basically. Like it's pretty simple. Not that I'm code and I'm a bajillionaire, so the business aspect of it is something that I would love to master eventually. But when we think about monetizing our art, it's like what type of product or what type of service are we going to exchange for money, right? And there's so many dozens of options in both. And so before I prattle on, I wanted to ask, like, what have you considered or explored so far?
Well, I have sold my art for years, all the way back to when I first, like when the internet was new and I blogged when I was a new parent. and I had quite a following back then. I had no idea what it meant because it was just all so new. But because of that, I definitely have always sold my art online. And my favorite thing has been, although I haven't done it in the past couple of years, is doing an online studio sale where I make a portion of the days that it's available, pay what you can or pay what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So that people can have access to, getting art that they love and care about at, whatever price they can afford. And it's been very cool to sort of watch the range and how, it balances itself out. And it always really feels so good to me to like send pieces into the world where I know that the person really wants them. And not just that transaction around the dollar amount, but it's really like this other piece too. So I've done that. I have a newsletter that usually is the place where people, that's where I will post most about it, and then my Instagram. But I have done anything. Well, that's not true. I've done several commissions, and that's sort of more recent. Still learning how to do that and work in that space because it still feels new, and it's its own adventure.
Yeah, I hear you on an intuitive process of delivering on commissions. That's art there. But it really sounds like you're very well versed in selling original artwork, and you get a lot of meaning and fulfillment out of people like choosing the art, and you've been flexible in your pricing, or you've had kind of a generous strategy around it. And so knowing that, I see how the sense of like gallery representation is appealing, because you're already doing a whole bunch of marketing to facilitate that, with a newsletter, brand.
Really, you're giving me more credit than I'm. A whole bunch of marketing is way more marketing than I'm doing. I post about my process quite a lot on Instagram, but I actually that's maybe my question to you is, what is marketing? Because it's
Yes.
And I say that as a brand strategist. Does this for people? But I don't know, because it's that authenticity versus promotion, and it's this line to walk that, how do you see what marketing is? How do you think about it?
I love you're flipping the mic. We have so much in common. I started blogging before there were blogs. I used to be traveling, and I would rent time in an internet cafe and write a really long Hotmail email list of friends that I realized I was spamming at the time. About it. But yeah, so I guess I've had a natural desire to tell the stories of my life and experiences from an early age, and so blogging was a really good fit. And on behalf of my art business, I started a newsletter a little over 10 years ago now, and that's a core piece. I mean, that's straight up marketing, but I think I don't know.
This is the thing, and for me, it's just to build a true personal brand. It just feels like such a rigid container around something that's so alive. Art is so alive, and it's so much about how an individual engages. It's so relational, and to me, to my intuition, to the person perceiving it, to my relationship with that person, all of those things. Mm-hmm. And building a personal brand around that feels so much smaller.
Yeah, I think that this is a really juicy one, and a lot of us who are self-represented, I'm actually part of an organization that's called the Art Brand Alliance, and it's for entrepreneurial visual artists who, are running our, businesses typically full-time or so, or I don't know what all the benchmarks are, but because there's such a common experience right now, because we have the internet, because we are running a business that also is part of our personal story, but then part of our lives aren't shared. It's a really common conundrum. And the distinction I see between brand and marketing is brand is like, it's like the recognizable touch, feel, and energy of what we do, and that's the consistent, and it kind of boils down to who we are. And then I think marketing is like the kind of party we choose to host on behalf of our art and our brand.
I like that. That's really sweet to think about it that way.
Yeah.
That's
okay. I had that finally dropped in, and it made me remember that that's how I teach it. Because I think about
like I really like that though.
Yeah.
For me,
yeah. Sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that feels like a very authentic way to think about it and just sort of frame it, and it also like loosens it up a little bit and makes it more fun because it's like
market, it's how we keep in touch with the audience, how we keep in touch with our, so I typically ask like mentoring clients, how do they keep in touch with people in their lives right now? Like, I'll just ask you that, you know, are you like a holiday card person, or are you like, come to my studio, or like how do you nurture your existing relationships?
Yeah, Instagram is definitely a place for sort of people who are extend beyond like the people I see on a very regular basis.
Yeah,
I'm a text person.
Yeah, yes, and
teller, right? I mean, I definitely love to write and share my story that way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's text and photos, you know. I mean, there's something so real about that, like not super rehearsed.
Yeah.
And then it's like the real time conversation. It's making time for this, because this is the part where it's like the unscripted, authentic action is just so. That's what, you know, brings people together, and it's also just the most fun. So
totally, yeah. Well, and you're I mean, you're great. You show up fully. I feel like, I don't know if you're nervous, but you feel very comfortable to me. I would just say like that's what I would extrapolate to marketing. That's what I try to do. Messy action over perfection. Speaking to my audience the same way I would speak to anyone else in my life, because that way is more sustainable for me. I've definitely designed campaigns, done launches, done like nurturing sequences that build into a big ask. There is a strategy that we can put in there, and I've tried lots of things over the years, but I think that like the through line of sustainable marketing for me is keeping in touch with the people who are touching my art or my brand the same way I would keep in touch with anybody else, with a lot of just kind of, I guess I have a casual brand style. Some people have a more buttoned up brand style, and
I mean that's really cool for me to hear, because it's that sort of expectation of, I'm also more on the casual, just, you know, heartfelt side of things. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on having like an Instagram or a presence that's art focused exclusively versus I tend to blend my whole life in there because that's so.
Oh yeah, dude, I don't know. I quit. When my daughter was born, I created a site.
So happy.
For family, and then Mama didn't have time to update that one, so it's just dead. And this one, I try not to show my daughter's face. There's a whole bunch of my life I don't share on here. I really think of this as like the story of my art career.
Yeah.
But so people who are in my whole additional life, you know, you can't get it all from Instagram. This is really on behalf of my art, and I take boundaries more and more. But also, like, I almost quit Instagram. I unfollowed all accounts to 0 and delegated to my wonderful virtual assistant for a while to post because I was so out on it. Now it's redeeming itself with these real conversations. So I'm definitely not the greatest example, I think, of what to do. But only just a fellow person saying, yeah, I've been trying to figure it out too.
Yeah, but I mean, that's reassuring to me, because I know I have friends who have, you know, extremely large followings for whatever brand they've built, and it's like, again, it's that pressure of like, once you have that, then you have to like meet that expectation. And I guess I want the free, like, I don't want to follow the rules particularly. I want the freedom to just be able to show up.
Well, so, that's brand though, you know. That could be like, I feel like I'm actually like ready now. I'm ready now to like, I would be happy to be speaking to, hundreds of thousands of people now, because I feel like I'm fully myself and in motion with what I'm doing as an artist, as an art teacher, etc. And I don't think I was ready for that. I needed privacy to explore, apparently for like a decade. And so are you still kind of need privacy or not to feel, I don't know, or,
I don't, it's
I'm
not about privacy. It's just more that sort of like polished expectation. Like there are definitely, especially on Instagram, where it's just like you have to show up in a certain way and you have to post with this, like, and it's just like, I don't know, I like breaking the rules quite a lot. And
yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'm holding myself back from more visibility by not playing those rules of growth or like.
Yeah, but I love what you're doing this, because it's like the most social form of social media is like, real conversations. Like here we are actually being social on social media.
This is a party I like to host. I like to actually get to, so I think any of these forums, I sort of think of like Facebook is like being in a gymnasium at my high school. Like it's just like, Instagram is like really exciting and beautiful for visual artists. I never got into Twitter because I just can't only do that. It's just a party. I do think we need to probably come towards the end of this, and I thank you so much for exploring with me. So let's tell people a few things you got coming up.
Well, this weekend, this Sunday, April 23rd, from 1 to 5, my partner, who is a ceramicist, and I are hosting an open studio. He'll probably be doing a pit fire, which is a fun outdoor wood burn firing. Yeah. And it'll be super casual, so people are just welcome to stop by whenever in between 1 and 5. The details are all on my Instagram for that.
That's amazing. Yeah. Cool. Is that something you're going to do regularly? Is it the first time you've done it?
That's the plan. Yeah, we would really like to just sort of bring the art community in Portland together a little bit more, and just like have these moments where people can just run into each other. I love connecting people. I love meeting someone and being like, oh, you need to know this other person. And it like delights me so much when I can create the space where those little serendipity moments happen. So that's the intention. It would be really fun to have it be something that's a little bit more regular, maybe music, people, maybe there's like stand-up poetry, just creating where people can come together and have fun, and then have some work to share as well, because it's motivating in a different way to just like have sort of a point in time where it's like, okay, there's going to be something here to share with the world.
That's cool. I love that. I'm going to be at the coast this weekend, but if you do it again, definitely let me know and I'll let the peeps know. So if anyone's listening to this or watching this and you're in the Portland area, definitely go to your open studio. Is it on Sunday, did you say?
Yeah, Sunday the 23rd.
Sweet. And then sounds like you have an email newsletter, and I wanted to just shout out that you also like to surf, which I don't find a lot, and so that's really exciting. And it's just been great to get to know you. And thanks to our mutual friend Jason for inviting us.
Sure. It's been so much fun, and I feel like I made a new friend, and I so admire this project that you're doing. It's been such a pleasure to be able to share a little bit and get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, thanks so much for your time, and yeah, great. Okay, wrap this up, and then I'll see you to debrief back in the Zoom. And if you're watching, please comment, share, tag a friend, send it to them in a DM. It really makes a difference. And if you're an artist watching this and you'd like to come on the show, I'd love to meet you. There's a link to schedule your interview in my bio. And again, I'm Annamieka. This is Christina, and this is the Art Friend Show, day 56 out of 100.
Oh man. All right.
Okay. See ya. I'd love to have you inside of Art Friend School, where we go deeper into these topics. Follow the link that's in the show notes or find it on my website at annamieka.com.